The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
Hey, what's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of the Shop Podcast. Hey, guys.
Hey.
Hey.
All right, let's get started. First, like we always do, how was your weekend?
Weekend was bomb. Good weekend. Rainy, miserable weekend weather, but otherwise we went to Tyson's Corner and got to do a little shopping, dining at Eddie V's and Ruth Chris, and the hotel was nice. It was really nice. A good weekend.
Oh, y'all was eating good.
Yeah. But I'm gonna tell you it's a crazy thing because some of the things on the menu were a little different just with it not being Maryland. That was crazy.
Oh.
Like we had like the stuffed chicken and we wanted it Chesapeake style, but of course they say Oscar instead of Chesapeake, and
So, what's on the Oscar?
it's a crab cake, but it wasn't our crab cake either, so
Okay.
it's a little fresh.
Okay, got it. I'm going to try that. We was just off camera. We were talking about seafood allergies. And apparently, Miss Sharp Lady has one. Miss Shayna has one, which will be a pastor's wife. And of course, I have one. But we were all saying we take Benadryl for it. And I've been saying, because I always hear y'all talk about the Chesapeake one there. I always say I want to go there and try it because y'all make it sound so good.
But don't go somewhere else.
Huh? Don't do it out the state.
Don't do it outside of Maryland.
Kathy, how was your weekend?
As I was saying, I had an awesome Mother's Day. I went to church for the first time, and now I'm sick today. So we're knocking on wood that it didn't come down to any COVID things, but I'm not claiming it.
Amen. Don't claim it.
Mm-mm.
Pastor, how was your weekend? Can you hear me? Pastor,
Huh?
how was your weekend?
Yeah, I had to work. I had to work this weekend. And then when I wasn't at work, I just spent time with the fam.
Okay. And welcome, Hutch.
What's up?
How was your weekend?
Oh, it was cool. I don't remember if I did anything.
I said last week, I was like, we need to start talking about what we're gonna do for the weekend. Because by the time Wednesday come, we don't remember what we did.
Oh, it was Mother's Day. Happy Mother's Day, ladies. I didn't see y'all last week and the week before.
Happy Mother's Day, ladies.
Thank
Thank you. Thank you.
I had to shut things down after a while on Sunday. Other than that, it was work as usual and Mother's Day stuff. So
I saw you post something, and I told Marlon, I said we keep missing our opportunity
yeah,
because we went to the baseball game, and as I just told Pastor, the game started at 1:30, and we were parking at about 1:45.
Oh yeah, I could have got y'all.
And I was like, you posted something, and I was like, Marlon, why do we keep coming down here and not seeing if Hutch can take us first?
Yeah, I could have got y'all. I could have got y'all real quick before I went and chill with my mother.
We blew that one majorly.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I went to the game. It was cold. Every day since has been very nice. I was cold sitting there, and we lost.
Hey.
lost.
So I think they won. I think they had a double header. I think they won the second one, but I wasn't sure. I didn't care. Really, I just didn't want them to go in the overs. I don't know if it's called overtime. I didn't want them to have to do extra innings.
Right.
I was like, that's where I draw the line. Uh,
Oh here. Oh here.
all right. So, yeah, Randy said we won the next game.
I was going to say I think Hector won the late game because I think I saw that heard it on the news.
Yeah, definitely not that first one. And it got warmer towards the end of the game.
It did.
So I was like, I just was losing all the way around. Didn't get my hat or and I froze to death. Second time I've been to an Orioles game and had to freeze. I think God is trying to tell me something.
You don't like baseball.
I think so. Here's what I said. I think God want me to stay out of arenas, period. Or I guess they not called arenas because it's out of stadiums. I think he wants me out of stadiums because I keep going to football games that are cold.
He said, "Stay out of Camden Yards." That's what he said.
Who said that?
Huh? You said you
Oh,
were
that's what
getting
God
that.
said.
That's a subliminal message. Stay out of Camden Yards.
So yeah, right. So I stay from down there. I'm good. I need to go to a game in the summer. I don't care what it is. It could be baseball or football, but they need to take me when I can wear a t-shirt and go on about my business.
But it wasn't cold when we went.
Well, I think it was cold, Brandy.
We weren't cold.
Oh yeah, we weren't cold. No, nobody parties with me like you do. So, speaking of my t-shirt, I did not make this, but I have on my Dunbar t-shirt because I went to my niece's track meet today. Now, they apparently start these events on time because I got there. It started at 3:30. I got there at 3:35, and I missed her.
Wow.
But as I was walking from my parking space, this couple walked up and I was asking them where was the entrance, even though it was my school, they had moved it. So I wasn't quite sure where to go. So the wife was telling me where to go, and the husband said, "Are you a coach?" And I was like, well, if I was a coach, I should probably be here a little sooner. And I should know where the entrance is since it's Dunbar. So I said, no, I'm an alumni. And before I could say, but my niece is running, he goes, oh, so when did you graduate? Like 1960? I was like, sir, I was like, my parents were just being born. What do you mean? Did I graduate? I was like, now, one thing, I don't think I'm somebody that look like a teenager. I don't say I look like I'm in my 20s. I tell my age, and I look my age to me. But what you ain't gonna do is tell me I look like I'm 60 something.
Play in your face.
I was like, sir, I will not be walking with you. No, I was like, ma'am, I won't be walking with you and your husband because your husband was just rude. And I walked in just for my niece to come up to me and say, you can go home now.
Damn.
I said, girl, I just got here and I paid to get in. I said, let me watch the other people run then.
Give you some pointers.
She said she gave me a reason that things got messed up, and she said Saturday is gonna be a different game. I was like, I know, because I won't be able to come. I ain't tell her that though. But that's the truth. If she watching now, she'll find out I ain't gonna make it. I'm gonna have too many kids. But so, and other things that has happened since we last met, Kevin Samuels has gone on to glory.
Yeah. Sorry.
Nobody. No.
I mean, I guess it's kind of old now. I guess we all know.
Right. Like it must have happened the day after the show because it seems
did.
like it's been
Forever. It's
forever.
like it was the day after.
And we spent, I know I can't speak for everybody, but I think me and Six spent part of the day just trying to figure out if it was true before we posted it.
Right.
And I kept getting several people like, I'm waiting for TMZ to post it. And I was like, I don't mean any offense to any of you people who love Kevin Samuels. I said, but I don't think he's TMZ popular.
Well, they posted it at some point, so
When?
they
Because
did.
I
Oh,
was
I
on
saw
like
it.
I was on
TMZ
like day
posted.
2 before I saw it.
They posted it. They did post it.
Now, so
Now
rest
it was said that even his mom found out through social media. So
yeah,
I
she
guess
said
they were trying to be what they were supposed to be doing, like really let it leak out the way it's supposed to have, because that is horrible. That is horrible.
yeah, that was it. And I think that's the thing that I hate about social media. Is that they you can't blame them, but they don't give a chance for anything. Like, I don't think TMZ is respectful in the wait period. I think they do their due diligence to make sure a story is true. Because those Kobe pictures were not respectful at all.
No, no, no.
So I'm never
Mm-mm.
giving them the
Well, I wouldn't say that, but I'm sure they it wasn't posted like before any, like whoever, someone must have, a social media person must have really talked, or it could have been a girl that was with them, who knows, but that was like really, really like fast. Like we do know things get out like really fast, but it wasn't even to where a coroner could even put anything out or say anything like that. So I mean, it just had happened, and it was on the streets. Like, that's crazy. That's crazy, crazy.
and we had the great debate about what is a legitimate news outlet, because most of what I was seeing was that it wasn't confirmed, but Revolt did post that it was confirmed. So that was another thing. I didn't want to say anything. I'm not putting anybody in the grave early. So whether it's in the group, whether it's, on the podcast, whether it's just me putting it on my social media, unless I know it could be a family member. I'm gonna need a
It
little bit
probably
more
was
confirmation.
confirmed by somebody they knew. It wasn't totally clearly confirmed for sure.
Yeah,
That
it's like
man was
they
wrong.
have a requirement for what confirmed is considered. So like there was an incident with Hollywood in Lock, Jason somebody, can't think of his last name, but he confirmed that the queen was dead.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I think they're confirming their way. Like, we know what the real way probably should be, but they not making sure. Clearly, they're not making sure. I just don't know why they want to be first to say that one.
Right.
Well, it wasn't the queen.
I am not now when Jason Lee, that's his name, he did that.
Yeah, Jason.
He stood 10 toes down, digged himself a grave, refused to take it back. All to be like, he was like, I got it from such and such wetting, and all to be like, I apologize to the queen for saying. I was like, yo, chill. Like, I can be, I don't care how big I get, I can be the last one to report on somebody's death, because I'm gonna do what I'm doing right now, just talk about it. I don't really want to report it, I just want to talk about it. In sadder news, someone probably a little bit closer to our hearts, Traffic Jam Jimmy passed away.
Yeah.
The only reason I'm sorry, that and the tickler. The only reason I ever watched Fox News, I absolutely loved him. And of course, had the when he died. I just saw him last week. Gotta love those posts.
But I always say somebody had to see you to know you died. So somebody had to last see you. So it is crazy that we say that. But
I just saw, I'd be like, if somebody died, I would be like, dang. I'm not gonna mention that because I also may have been the one who knew and left. But it's like I'm playing. I tell if y'all died. I'm lying. I won't. I tell people all the time, die in my car if you want. I will roll you out and keep going.
Did you hear the call, the 911 call from the lady for Kevin Samuels?
I'm happy y'all talking about that. I,
I did not.
wait a minute, who was that?
Ain't it?
I didn't hear the 911 call.
I did not. I
give me
did
a brief
not.
overview.
I mean, she just was like basically like help. She really didn't know his name. She's like, I think Kevin. I'm gonna continue on with the compressions, but I need help. But it's just crazy how like she didn't even know the man's name. Like I mean, I'm sure some of us has done some things and probably went home with somebody or took somebody home, but god damn, you didn't even know the man's name, and He just down top you like that. I know that probably was scary to her.
Maybe she knew and didn't want to say it. She didn't want to be associated with it. I will say, I think I've only made a few. I hope my 911 calls never get leaked because first of all, if you calling, it's probably you're not calling to say that, you won something. So it's like a very frantic moment going on.
Mm-hmm.
And they just put that out there for people. I think that's when like it's a little insensitive. Like I saw people mad about like all the jokes that was going on. I never wish death on anybody. I don't care. I'm not gonna lie. There have been some instances where I'm like, yeah, they deserve to die. We should bring back the death penalty. But just because, like people who adamantly hated him and was just like, oh, he deserved to die. I think that's a bit much. But I had a post where I was like, and my sister can attest to it. Uh, we make jokes at funerals. Kevin Samuels is not exempt from my jokes. I was like, I won't say anything mean. I ain't putting nobody in the grave and saying, they deserve to die. I ain't sending nobody to hell. None of that. But I saw some funny jokes and I laughed and I shared them. And
You got Trevor was posting some funny joints too.
I laughed at them. I was like, this we on the same. Some stuff is funny.
It
I
was
mean,
funny.
I think there are times we have said I can't speak for everybody, but I think me and Brandy have said some stuff that he said like that was funny. Might not have been right. So these death jokes are funny. Just not seven, but when our dad died, me and one of my other sisters went to view his body, and we were standing at the casket making jokes. Nobody's exempt. You gonna get these. I'm
He
sorry.
did look like Brown though.
He looked like Mr. Brown. That was my sister and I walked in and we standing there crying and holding each other. And I said, hey, is it me or does he look like Mr. Brown?
I wanted to say, "This is your granddaddy." So bad,
I
so
know you. I'm
Hey,
sure
boss,
you took one of them kids up there and said it. Yes, sir.
were you celebrating his life while you were doing that?
Who's
When you was at the
Kevin
funeral,
Samuels or my dad?
your dad, was you celebrating his life?
You know what? I'm gonna be honest. I'm not churchy enough yet for the whole celebration of life thing. I told y'all before, I'm a little selfish. We before we even started, we talked about me being a brat and a baby. So I haven't reached that level of spirituality where I really be now I might at somebody else's funeral, if you ask me to sing or if you ask me to say something, I'm gonna get up there and I'm gonna tell you all that you need to hear, and I'm gonna be like, we're not here to weep, he's not here anymore. We are here to celebrate. I'm gonna give you all of that. But when it was my daddy, I was like, oh, this some bull. You want me to be an orphan in these streets.
Pastor has left the building. Oh,
He like, I thought that was my partner. She's a heathen.
Look. I appreciate your honesty.
I'm telling you, I say I can't be perfect or there's no room for growth. So I gotta be, hey Lambs, I gotta be honest and be like, no, I'm not that. I sell, I put it on the obituary and say celebration of life, but in my mind, I'm just like, God, we need to talk.
Randy said he missed the call, and he also said that God was saying that you need to upgrade your ticket to club level.
I skip past all of that.
Roger that.
with with great intention. But psych, Randy, I'm sorry. I did skip over it, but we had moved on. That's why. Um, so did y'all hear about the CO that helped someone escape
Yes.
Oh yeah.
and,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and then killed herself?
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, so she died because yesterday I know she was in critical condition.
Oh yeah. By the time I saw it, they said she died she was pronounced dead at the hospital, I think.
Be-
Um
She was
Must
going
have
to.
wrote her some lovely letters. He was talking that good shit to her.
Um, that
He
reminds
said it in person.
that
He had
reminds
to
me
write
of a
it
post that we had about who's more romantic, a guy in jail, a married guy, or a homeless guy.
out.
Have
Like,
Have you all ever watched that reality show where it's the women marrying the guys from jail? I
Oh,
like caught
I
it.
know what you're talking about. I'm
are
trying to
you
think
talking
of
Yeah,
about Love
the.
After Lockup?
Yeah.
yeah.
Oh yeah, I was heavy into it.
I saw.
I follow those people on Instagram. That's how heavy I am into it.
I looked at it briefly and I was like, oh, okay. And but as Hutch was saying, I mean, she knew she was done because one, she probably was going to spend the rest of her life behind, and all of the people who she had locked up and over the years, she wasn't going to be safe anyway. So
So
Well, I don't think
um
he's gonna spend
they
the
were
rest of
ready. They
his life
were
in
ready
prison, but
when they pulled the car over. They had a whole bunch of guns in there. So if they had crashed, they had a whole bunch of guns in the car. They was ready to fire at whoever came at them.
mm,
I just feel like when people do stuff like that, it's also like an embarrassment. Like, okay, now I'm about to be locked up. I'm going to lose my job now. What is next? And she probably just felt like there's no more hope for her. So, I don't think the fact of she was going to spend the rest of her life in jail because I don't think they're gonna give her a whole bunch of time. One, she's of that other nationality, and two, she could have probably said, "Oh man, he made me do this," or I was going crazy or something like that. But I mean, people are just so stupid that they believe a lot of guys behind this wall. And, they ready to risk all. They got to risk it all. You know what I'm saying? They ready to go down to Vegas or MGM or live or wherever you want to go and risk everything. She risked her whole life.
yeah, and I think she was what, 3 years from retirement.
Are you serious? Listen, I have not met a love yet that's gonna make me do all of that. Like, first of all, I don't even know how to break some. I mean, I guess if you work there, you might have a clue. But
Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead, but I,
what
I
was you
don't know
about to
how
say?
that. But
Yeah,
I just can't. I can't see me doing any of those things. I can't see helping you escape. I can't see. I get the whole point about the embarrassment and all that. I totally agree. But I listen. I'm a diabetic, and I have a problem sticking myself daily. I can't imagine putting a gun to my head.
That's the
exactly.
part that got me right there.
Like, I'm
You know what
I
though?
I might go out in a blaze. I might shoot everybody else, but I can't see me shooting myself.
Yeah, she should have went out like Cleo. But my thing,
I don't even know if I can
um,
do that.
yeah.
it's this get
Look,
to her. You know what I'm saying? The whole prison system works on one hand washes the other. There's no way that a correctional officer can get an inmate out of a facility and put them in their own personal car, and nobody knows what is going
Somebody
on.
else helped them. Tell them again. Tell them again.
yeah,
Somebody help.
There's no
yes.
way.
Somebody help
No
them.
way.
Yeah, and then
So
they what? And then they didn't note, and nobody reported it until 6 hours later.
right, nobody, no,
They get a
Oh,
whole head start.
dang.
How many counts do you do in 6 hours? You're supposed to do a count every hour.
no. In a shift, you do two counts. If it's an emergency, you're going to do another emergency count. But in a shift, you'll do two counts. So, in a day, that's six counts. Sometimes you might have to do another one just because. But what I'm saying to you is, how can a correctional officer walk an inmate out of the door and go into your own personal car? I don't know what jail this was or where they were located, but if you go anywhere in, I can speak for the state of Maryland. If you go anywhere in the state of Maryland prisons, if you walk out of any gate, somebody is there and they're going to question you. She had
Hmm.
no type of paperwork, no nothing. Where was this person going? I mean, come on now, let's be real.
They
You
said she was taking him to court, like he was going to court.
By
But
herself? By herself?
yeah,
know,
right, and that's what I'm saying.
He the
That
only
was
one had court that day.
right, and
exactly.
that was one of the questions. Why was she the only one transporting him for a court detail? And then the thing about it, like even though it was kind of local detention, he still should have been cuffed and, shackled. So yeah, I'm like you. I'm with
Anywhere.
Pastor and Hutch.
The
They had
tech
help.
centers, federal prisons. Anyway, let me tell you something. When we was down there on 5,000 East Monument Street, you couldn't walk. I mean, you can a person can get out the door because that's a halfway house. But how can you now say, "Oh, this person is getting in my car and I'm taking them to the courthouse or I'm taking them to the hospital"? First of all, they're gonna look at you like, "What? What are you talking about? Like, why is that offender getting in your car?" You know what I'm saying? So I hope that somebody gets fired behind this situation or gets locked up as well because yeah, she was dumb. She was dumb as hell. But damn,
What happened
nobody
to the control officer?
right. Anyways, God bless her soul.
Uh, so I don't know any of these people, but maybe y'all can help me. Yeah, this why that man thought I was graduated in 1960 something. Young Thug and one Gunna, is it?
I know Young
Gunna, then
Thug. Other one.
Okay.
Gunna, yeah,
Well, it looks like
Gunna.
all them and they peoples got locked up or indicted.
Yeah.
56
Um,
man indictment.
huh?
A 56-man indictment.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's a lot of them. It's a lot.
Is
That's a
that the
big
amount of people or?
the
Yeah,
amount.
yeah, 56. 56
Oh,
people
because I
were
saw
indicted on
it
this
was
charge.
28 people, but 56 indictments.
Right.
So did
So
all
my thing is
28
like,
people get indicted?
I want to ask y'all a question, and this is a one question I want to ask real quick. Would you rather the fame or the money?
I
Um,
take the money.
I would
I
rather
don't
money.
need
I don't
fame.
want to be famous. I just want to be rich. I want to be wealthy and no Diddy. That's all I want.
And I would definitely want to be rich and without the fame, right? But my thing is this. We already seen what's the guy from the Patriots? His name was Hernandez as well. What was
Aaron
his name?
Her
Hernandez.
name.
Uh,
Yeah.
Aaron Hernandez. So we've seen this story already. We've seen how an athlete can be a killer, a gangster, and all these good things, as they say they are, and then come to the football field or come to the Super Bowl and win these championships and third, but you are out there killing people. But my thing is, at what point in life do you say it's like you being greedy? I want to continue to be a gangster and I want to kill people, but then I want to have a nice record label behind me and getting all that money as well. Like, I don't understand. Like, when do you say I'm going to take my foot out of that? You know what I'm saying? That field or off of that street and say I'm gonna go ahead and play the sidewalk role. Y'all go ahead and do y'all thing. You know what I'm saying? And it will never stop. But I just don't understand. Like, if I am Young Thug, oh yeah, Young Thug and Gunna, and I have big hit singles, and I have big records, I got big mansions. Why am I the front man of this whole indictment? When do I say enough is enough? Or y'all go ahead do y'all neighborhood thing, but I'm gonna go ahead and pull myself out of the situation.
And at the same time, want say out your mouth verbally, I want better for my children.
Right. And what's
Like they're
crazy is
exempt, but you do all of
young
this.
young Thug's baby mother,
Hey, Sheree.
child's mother, just got killed, I believe in January, due to gun
Hmm.
violence.
Hmm.
Have it.
Yeah, I don't get it personally. I'm gonna tell you, there is enough for me. I think that there is a stop. I always want more, but I think I'm in a tax bracket where I should always want more. I don't feel like if I was, and maybe I do think once you in that lifestyle, maybe it's just hard to get out of. Like you just, it's not even about the money. Like it's just something about that lifestyle. Personally, I would like to think if I was in it, I could walk away from it. I watched Steve Harvey talk one day about like how hard you should work. And I was like, much like Think Like a Man, I'm going to skip over most of your advice again. Because what I'm not going to do is work myself into a grave, not be with my family, just to say I have all this money, but I still feel alone. Like, so I think people do need to find out where the limit is and chill out.
Right.
That's just my point. My
My
thought.
thing is this: if you want to be in the gang and you can't get out the gang, guess what? It's rappers out there that's still in the gang. Snoop Dogg is in the gang, but guess what? Snoop Dogg also has a commercial and TV shows with Martha Stewart, and he's doing commercials on the beach with Coronas in his hand. You got other gangbangers. You got Chris Brown as a gangbanger. He sings his ass off. So
So
at
are
what
they
point in
like
time?
in? Go ahead. I'm sorry.
At what point in time do you say, "Hey guys, this gang shit is fun, but y'all can go ahead and be the forefront, and I'll be behind, and maybe I'll supply you all with some money or whatever the case may be, so that could be my contribution to the gang life." What the
That's
hell?
what I was going to ask. Do they still have to contribute in some capacity? Because I would think, especially at his age, maybe Snoop ain't out gang banging.
Right,
But I feel like if you got to be, jumped in and jumped out, you probably just can't say, you know what, I decided to retire.
right.
Like, you still got to do something. So in that capacity, I would be like, can I just give y'all money and through a laundromat? Not even, I don't even need it
Right,
connected.
because I would say if you get caught up in that, you lose everything. And I don't think Snoop's willing to lose everything.
Mm-mm.
I don't think he's willing to lose everything, but I know that he claims Crip everywhere he goes. Like, he has no problem with saying, "I'm a Crip."
Well,
He
if
has
I
a
was a
whole show
Crip,
right now, and that's the first thing he said.
Huh?
I would tell him to stop saying that because you could say that and not get in trouble, and we all do. So don't do that anymore.
You know what's so crazy though, Seven? I think gangbanging is so commercial that nobody even cares what type of gang that you're repping anymore. Like it's to the point where you can go to a store and purchase some type of clothing
Oh yeah, I
with
did hear a girl speak
with
on that.
gang,
Mhm.
red or blue on it.
Right.
Hey, boo boo.
So at the end of the day, it's like this gang thing is just like, I don't know, like it's so just like out there in the open these days. I don't think Snoop is like, okay, I got to stop and put my flag down. But I don't think he can. I don't think he can stop and put his flag down either.
Randy just said that Too Short did an interview and basically said the same thing you just said. I want to make sure I don't skip any more Randy's comments. But then he has another one that says the rappers and artists used to be kept away from the foolery and respect. You're right. You're right about that.
Right. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just don't understand where you have one rapper trying to kill a rapper, not once, but twice, which is Lucci. So they're trying to put a hit on Lucci, and all of these things that these people are doing are recorded. It's in their songs. And as much as Jay-Z
I
and
was about to say that.
all these people want to have this new reform and all these policies that the federal prosecutors cannot use lyrics from songs. Why not? You telling us about it?
Patrick said they don't give them money, but they bring them in the industry some type of ways as bodyguards, drivers, or something, um, and feed them. It's, take these people off the streets. Like, don't. But I guess like they do that, but they still want to be involved in the drugs and stuff. That's the part that is weird. Like
It's
they
crazy.
can't let that go.
I mean, just like Dirk. I believe Dirk at one time he said like he had over 100 people in his house. Like, and like when he goes on interviews, I think when he was on an interview with Wallow and Gilly, I believe that he had like a whole bunch of them there, and like you have all these guys with you, and then you in the house with your girl, your fiance, whatever it may be, and these same guys are around. You're like, at what point in time do I say, hey, I'm not gonna follow this guy, I'm just gonna get my own money or whatever? Like, I mean, I guess I can agree with Patrick on the whole. Oh yeah, they bring you around the industry, but look at Bobby Shmurda. It was a whole bunch of them that was handcuffed to each other and going down to Rikers Island. And what did you hear from GS9 when they was locked up for 7 years? Nothing.
Hey, I wanted to ask a question about that, Hutch. So Bobby Smurder was only left 7 years. Didn't he kill somebody?
No, he ain't. Well, I don't. He didn't get indicted for killing. I think he was his role was more of the drugs and the guns, and and those type of things. But I don't think he got locked up for the killings that he does rap about. Now I know A-Rod and all those other folks was getting like 99 years and 100 years and those type of things. So, I guess somebody had to go, but it wasn't the big face of you know, the gang. So
Yeah,
maybe
I guess I had the wrong impression because I thought when he came out with the song, his hit song, he talked about laying
oh yeah,
somebody.
he talks about it. He
Impressive.
even he has a freestyle right now with Flex that came out last week.
On
And
Flex,
he
yep.
talked about killing somebody in
Yep.
front of his mama house.
How old are these people?
Well, I think Bobby's like in his 20s now.
Well, you mentioned the whole Jay-Z and them trying to get it so that rap lyrics can't be used against them. I know one thing. If they can get that pushed through, but the Supreme Court wants to overturn Roe versus Wade,
Mm.
I'm gonna need uh, Jay-Z to get into a different business and work some things out with the Supreme Court. Because I'm not gonna ask anybody opinions on that, but that's a little crazy. But if they get that done, then go ahead and start a new career. Don't let Kim Kardashian be our only attorney out there.
Mm.
Patrick said
Get
the old school put you on, and the young boys still want to swim. Bang, yeah. Speaking of, I don't have a segue. Never mind. Diddy is starting a new record R&B label.
R&B label, yeah.
I know you happy about that.
I support any and everything that he does. I won't work for him, but I support it all.
So I was wondering real quick, right, with that whole little love music or whatever love records. As much as much money that Sean has, why didn't he do this independently, and why did he want to go under another record company? Why do you think that happened?
I don't know,
Mm.
but I would venture to say that people don't always put their money into things that they start. Um, they say the rich get richer because of things like that. That they take advantage of using other people's money and not using their money. Because if it doesn't work, that's just the loss of his money. Now I don't think it would hurt him in any way, but I think he know what he's doing about his coins.
So
Yeah,
He
well,
who
might
money
not
do
care
you
about
think?
anybody else's.
he still own the rights to make music.
I
You're on the right
I
to
have
a lot of
no
people
problem
have
with
more
that.
music.
I have not one
And,
problem with that.
and even speaking
So
about,
who money do you think he using to Toya?
well, he's on
Um,
Motown Records with
yeah.
the love music. So Motown is back in the love music of Doctor what's his name, Brother Love. So at the end of the day, he don't have to put nothing into it. He just got to make sure that those record sells.
Oh, boss, you said you don't want to work for Diddy. You don't want to go uptown and get cheesecake.
No, what did I tell you about me before the show? Now, I might love him, but I don't have the dedication. I could see me now like go where? All right, I'm gonna go home. That's where I'm gonna go. Baltimore, here I come, and I'm gonna pick myself up a slice of cheesecake on my way home. To and fro, come and get me.
Yeah,
It's
I'll
not
be
happening.
right there. I mean, we can easily go downtown Brooklyn and go and get the cheesecake. I don't know why they walk the other way, but
Listen, I
That's a great promotion. If you need a ride, hit up my man's Hutch with the to and fro transportation.
there you go, there you go.
don't be like me. Don't keep going to the stadium and parking in lot 8.
I'm outside working right now. But
Um, I
definitely,
just hope. Go ahead.
go no, go ahead.
I just hope to me. I'm not saying I don't have anything against today's music, but when you say "but," you kind of cancel out the first thing you said. So I don't really like today's music that much. I got some that I play, but my Pandora station stays on Bad Boy, and it's not because I only want to hear Bad Boy songs, but it plays music from that era. So it's the rap, it's the R&B, it's all of I am what our parents were when they was like, no, parents don't understand. Or when
Let me
they
ask
was
you a
like,
question.
what is this Tupac and Biggie stuff? Even though mine like them.
So, speaking of music and today's music, you know, even though today's music is kind of crazy, right? I feel like Silk Sonic has a formula, and the formula is working for them. They
Yeah,
can bring old school and the new kids onto what they're doing. Like I heard a song from them yesterday, and like it sounded like something that should be like on a like an oldies but goodies type of radio station. I was like, wow, these guys really got a formula.
That's what I need in my life.
yeah.
That.
I listened to Kendrick Lamar's song today. New song.
Oh my goodness!
Good. That's pretty good.
Did you see the video though?
The video was good too. The video was good too.
The video actually scared me. Like
Yeah.
I had to look at it a couple times. Like, wait a minute, this guy's face is changing. And when he got the Nipsey, that thing look. I mean, even though I'm sure it looked like Nipsey was alive. Like I was like, what in the world? I had to look at this thing like several times.
Nipsey, OJ, Kanye, Justin Smollett.
And,
Did Will Smith in it?
huh?
Did I see Will Smith in it?
I don't know. It was moving so fast, and I couldn't see.
It was moving fast.
Really was. I mean,
Yeah.
but of course, Kanye got to post his own.
The deep fake video just making things more and more real.
Yeah.
That was from Randy, and it was good. I gotta watch it. I saw. I didn't know anything of it because I'm so old. I didn't know anything about Kendrick Lamar's new song or video, but I saw somebody had Michael Jackson video, black and white, and it said Kendrick Lamar, and I watched it several times, and I was like, I don't get it, but now it makes sense, and I'm gonna go watch this video after I watch Married at First Sight Decision.
Yeah, but see, black and white had several different people, and it's like you put me and you, then Six, then Sharp Lady, and go so on so on. This one was like just one body. His hair was the same. It just was the faces was like changing. Like you watch black and white and then watch this, you be like, what in the world? Like technology is so crazy.
I'm gonna go watch it again as I watch my other stuff, or maybe earlier. What was the? Oh, I had another one. I saw Bobby Brown. I guess he did an interview, and he was talking about sleeping with Madonna and Janet Jackson. I don't really care about him sleeping with them. My question is, do y'all think that I mean, does anybody care? Is this just a reason to stay relevant?
I mean, I don't care if you got a show coming out, so I guess when you got things coming out, you just got to talk about your past stuff. But I think Bobby he could have kept that to himself, and he could have also just like had that back in the day. If he just said it back in the day, probably people were like, oh man, what? But now it's like, yo, you like old, different, washed up, like.
So I kind of agree with Hutch or whatever like that. Like he showed a lot in his documentaries on BT on the stuff or whatever. He
Right.
talked.
I didn't see the Madonna part, but he already talked about that.
So yeah, I think he overdoing it.
I was just like, why did we need to know? And I was torn because I had just watched an interview and somebody was talking about a celebrity running their mouth, and the other person was like, well, it's not really them running their mouth. It was like somebody asked the question and it causes them to respond, but their response is what goes viral, not the question that they're being asked. This question goes viral. And I was like, that is a fair statement, but I don't think anybody walked up to Bobby and was like, so did you sleep with Madonna? I just don't imagine that happened that way.
But at the end of the day, how many bodies does Madonna have? So who cares? Like, who cares? It's 2022. Like all this stuff was jumping off in like what 80s. Nobody. Who cares?
Right. I don't know if I was born when they was still. I probably was. I was born in the early 80s. But speaking of
all that stuff.
Speaking of people talking about their sex life from years ago, Ray J is speaking out about the sex tape. And here's one of those things. I do think that he is in the right to say something because they are. I haven't watched the full episode, so I could be wrong. But
Mhm.
on the new Kardashians reality show, um, for I know there was an issue with the one of the sons found something on his Roblox about Kim's sex tape. Then they were like, oh, Ray J may have another copy, this, that, and the third. And he felt like they were making him out to be something he wasn't. So he was like, hey, here's the deal. I made a joke with her about releasing our sex tape after Paris Hilton's sex tape was leaked. And her mother came up with what was going to happen. And he was like, I just went along with it. And they have built their self-made fortunes off of that sex tape. And
Sure.
then to turn around and be like, oh my God, he could, release another copy and it's not fair. And my kids, it's not fair that my child is going to find out about this.
One thing is this though, who cares about the copies? Once it's in the clouds, everything is a wrap. You can go on
Well, I
Google and
don't know. They probably didn't have a cloud back then, did they?
no, I mean probably not. But what I'm saying
They,
is,
they
if
probably used the VCR.
if you Google her name and that situation, it's gonna pop up somewhere.
I mean, you got one out. What's the second one gonna hurt? You already got one out, right?
Because now they want to have this pure image that,
But it
they
was
are
old, right?
they are these sweet people. They don't do anything wrong. They don't make sex tapes. They don't get butt injections or any other surgeries. They're just these self-made women who go out and tell people, if you want to be a millionaire, get up and work. Stop being lazy. She that was the advice that she gave. She didn't say make a sex tape and then work that. She just said stop
Mhm.
being lazy. But that I'm not here to shade them at all. I think he's right to say something and not to let that ride because they've been skating on it and making it got leaked. Y'all leaked it. Like and I always thought that they did. This was before we even realized the mogul that Chris Jenner is. Um, I thought that they leaked it. I thought that was common knowledge. I just assumed it. I'm not saying like I heard it. I just assumed that was the thing that. I thought that's what all people did. I didn't think they really just happened to have the tape in their suitcase and TSA went into it and leaked your tape. I never believed those stories.
Right.
But it
And
is
so,
what it is.
so can I
What you-
ask you before we go to the next situation? I don't even know what it is, but can I ask you a question? Paul? Did you all see Jack Harlow? Some of you might not know him, but he's a now up and coming. Well, he's now there, white, Caucasian. Some people may say
What's popping?
rapper.
Brand new whip just happened.
Yeah, that guy. He's a rapper. So he was at the Kentucky Derby. He was dressed up all nice, as they do at those derbies and Preaknesses and all those things. He didn't want to get his shoes dirty, so he had a couple of African American gentlemen, I don't know if they were his security or what, carry him across the field. Some people look at it as like, what kind of 18 something something hundred is going on here? Because Doctor, what's his name? Doctor Umi, is that his name? Is that the guy's name?
Umar?
Oh, there we go, Doctor Umar. So he's been going on a whole bunch of rants about the situation. But do you feel like society just puts everything on race and blows things up?
Probably so, because if some little black or white children want to help carry me across something I didn't want my shoes to get messed up in, I would just go ahead and let them do that. Especially if I think to that state where they want to do it. I mean, go ahead and do it. But I think he'd let some white kids carry them across there probably too, or whoever it was that carried them across. He probably would have. I mean, no one made them do it, right? He didn't say, "Hey, you carry me across here or you're fired or whatever. I mean, that's a different story. But some people ask and they receive.
Well, see that part. I don't know if he asked them, forced them, what. I don't know if it was security or what happened, but it's just looks. It looked just crazy. Like
It probably look crazy, but if Jay-Z asked somebody, they probably would do it. And I asked somebody, they probably look at me strange.
yeah, you're right.
I 100% agree with you. It looks weird, yes, but I do not blame. And so here's the thing. My husband and I, we like the show Blackish, and we like Black as Fuck a lot. So if you're around us, you will often hear us say it's because of slavery.
Right.
That
I
is our
forgot
thing.
about that.
We and I will. He's not as bad as me. I will find a way to link things either to slavery or the crack epidemic, and I blame the crack epidemic on slavery. But what I will say is, we have more choices than we had during slavery. So when I told y'all, I would tell Diddy, I'm not walking to get that cheesecake. It's the same with somebody asking me to carry them because they don't want to get their shoes dirty. This is not the job for me.
Right.
Now, if I feel like if there's somebody out there that's like, I love Beyonce so much, she don't want to walk, I'm going to go ahead and carry her. By all means, knocking the door shall open, asking you shall receive, clapping the lights will come on. Go for it. But no, it's not for me. And it's not because you white. It's not because
Okay.
I'm black. I'm not picking nobody up. If I have resolved to stop picking up that child that I gave birth to, I made her. She can't walk. And I refuse to pick her up anymore. So I'm definitely not picking up a grown person. If you decide to do that, that is your walk with Christ. Go
I'm
ahead.
damn sure I ain't picking up no man.
You
Like,
go
go
ahead and do you. But I ain't blaming that one on racism. No, they ain't getting slavery for that one.
they get racism, crackhead, or slavery.
Hey, boss, I was following you. I was like, man, that's the word right there. Then you said clap and the lights.
The clapper. Clap on.
I can't remember where I got that from, but I'm sure it was a movie. It's my favorite line though. So no, but I do have to. Somebody said yesterday, I think it was Trevor, was like, "Who is Jack Harlow?" And I did want to say, just in case my brother watching, I love you, but you could Google before you post these questions, and you could find out who Jack Harlow is, just like I did, because I kept saying the name. I said, "Well, who is this?" It wasn't even about the shoes. I actually Googled him because he had a song about nail tech, and I said, "I'm gonna post it tomorrow when I get my nails done."
Oh.
But yeah, I'm not blaming that one on racism. No, I'm blaming that on stupidity, or maybe just a very large check. Maybe he pay enough. He don't pay me enough to do it. But
You ever got fresh sneakers smudged?
I probably have,
That's everything I wear, I guess.
but I'm not a sneakerhead, so I've had on stilettos and had to step in grass, and I went down like the Titanic, and nobody carried me across. I had to walk on the tips so I could stop sinking like quicksand.
Now
But like
we
I
know
said,
your husband carried you across.
huh?
Now we know your husband gonna carry you across if need be.
You're a good man for lying for him. You're a good one. Cause mine gonna be like, you shouldn't have put those shoes on.
my husband gonna find another route for us to go.
He gonna be like,
let's take the scenic route.
he'll be like, dang, baby, I didn't know that it was all grass out here. You don't have no other shoes in the car? Hold on to my arm. Well,
You know what? He might attempt to let me get on his back, but I dare not do that to him.
I won't do it to Marlon.
I don't want to hear about that back later.
Marlon already carried 100 pounds on his back. And if he got to choose between me and Mimi, let's just be honest. I'm not the one chosen. He gonna carry his baby, but yeah, I think So is Jack Harlow's fan base black people?
It's a mixture because he's a a Caucasian artist, so he gets on both sides. So, but he does a lot of. Well, he's a rapper, of course, but he has a lot of songs with
Uh,
a lot of big
So
time those jokers. He got some songs with DJ Khaled. He got some songs with what's the boy name? Drake. So you know,
so
how it
he is to music. I mean, he is to race what Silk Sonic is to age. Able to cross over.
he's very much crossover. Uh,
Uh,
I think he. I mean, he might not be as big as Eminem or sell as much as Eminem did, but I mean, eventually he'll get there though.
hmm Big fan of Eminem, by the way. So before we get into the miseducation of sex, I had one more. I had one question. This was, I think it was. It might have been posted in the group, or I might have just saw it on Facebook. But somebody posed the question: why are women willing to forgive a man but not a female friend?
Mm.
Forgive them for what?
That was it. That's all it said.
Okay, forgive a
So
man.
I guess it's more just so why are women willing to accept uh mistakes made in the relationship
Okay,
and not
I was
in
wondering if it was
friendships,
male or female, like just period. But okay, so in a relationship, then they would
their
um
friendships.
their friendships. Um, I don't know if for myself, I don't know if I could say that's what I would do. I think it would depend on what it was that anybody would be forgiven or not forgiven. So
I
I
would.
don't, and then I guess so much in a relationship, um, sometimes there's more to your relationship than your friendships. Friendships are hard to find these days. Sometimes it seems like, so I guess they would be a little different, but I don't know if I could say I would, which one would. I think it depends on the deed, what was done for me to decide. I don't know. I don't know if I would pick one over the other, like to that degree. Because I'm thinking, what could a friend do to me so betrayal, and what a man could do to me that's so betrayal. I'm not sure if either or, depending on what it was, I might be done with you. So I don't know.
Miss Sharp Lady?
You were asking me,
Can
Toya, what could
yeah,
happen?
I forgot
Um,
about your voice.
no, it's a little rusty since I've been quiet for a while. But a situation that can make me, I would think, because it happened to me, which would make me lose a friend and lose a guy, is is my friend talking to my significant other or significant other. That would cancel both of them out for me.
Somebody pick me.
Oh, Toya.
Kathy, I think last week you told us that your friend's man called you to complain about her.
Right. That's a different scenario.
So say I
That's
just feel like you cannot cut your friends off for doing what you do now.
no,
Understand?
that's a different scenario. I'm talking about, like, someone being your friend, and then um kind of not even them not coming to you, but someone making them come to you to tell you that they're having affair or relations with someone who you're having relations with or have had relations with. That's an automatic X for both of them.
Oh wait a minute. Oh wait a minute. I think
No
I missed.
return.
I missed. You said two people having sex with each other. That one is your man and one is your friend.
Yes. I said that's
Oh,
an
okay. Yeah,
automatic X for
that's
both of
different. That's
them.
different. Um, I don't know, because like I said, the context wasn't really there to be 100% sure. But based off of some of the comments that I saw, of course, everybody was big on, oh, I just cut everybody off now. I'm not keeping anybody. Everybody was big on that. But some people who actually gave more detailed answers said which I think is unfair, but they were like, they hold their friendships to a higher standard because as women, we know better. So I don't think it was, and I think it's the, like in my mind, I was thinking like women will forgive a partner for cheating on them, but will be angry with a friend for not always being available to talk to them or not always supporting the BS that they have going. Not just BS, but like sometimes they will get mad if you don't support their relationship. But I mean, not always feeling like you're supporting what they're doing. Like I have seen friendships end for reasons like that, and often we don't realize that like they could be going through something. Maybe it's a reason they can't be there for you. The way now, I tell people to be careful in situations where you see they can always be there for somebody else but can't be there for you. I do say be wary of that type of friend. But when I've seen people who, because it's somebody that has always been able, they've been always able to depend on. The moment that they're not, is that person switched up on them. That person is fake. So they let that friendship go, and but then there are women who, will be with a man, maybe he didn't cheat, maybe he just don't want to get a job, he mismanaged money, all those things they'll forgive, but they will be like, that friendship don't work for me. My answer to the question was, because some people don't want to start relationships over, so they're willing to deal with that, but are willing to start new friendships over to benefit them. So when you're not being the best friend that I feel like you should be, I'll go hang out with this new person who probably doesn't have anything to do, so they can cater to all my whims. And this is my new best friend. That's the other thing I always say, be leery of. If somebody's best friend change often, I don't ever want to be your best friend. Like I get that everybody ain't here for a lifetime, but your best friend don't need to be seasonal. So that was how I took it. Um, Hutch, anything? Or Pastor has walked away.
No, I mean, nothing for me.
Nothing. But do
Okay.
you think? Do you, as a male, do you see that though?
I see that people are choosy. Um, like you said, people hold their friends to a higher standard, but I don't understand why they don't hold their relationships to a higher standard as well. But if say like, oh man, my boyfriend did such, oh no, he all good, I forgive him. But oh, that's my homegirl, she supposed to know better.
Mm-hmm.
They quick to chop them up. You know what I'm saying? Quick, and don't worry about another. Worry about them again. But that dude be the same dude who sleeping around or beating them and whatever the case may be, and they just taking that on the chin. So,
Exactly.
and vice versa as well. Oh yeah, my girl got some good head or good whatever. Oh, don't worry about it. I'm gonna stick around with her. But as soon as they homeboy don't be there or whatever case may be, or they cutting them straight off.
See, I tend to think men are the opposite. I always have. Now, you could be telling me I'm wrong, but I always feel like, and I think some of it is like a pride thing. Like men can't take some of the things that women will accept and move beyond. But they might can, they can ride for their homeboys, but you can't embarrass them. And I think that's what happens like on the flip side with, like, maybe they might say if it's something that don't nobody know about and y'all done kept it in house, but I think men with pride, they be like, oh, she got to go.
Hey, boss.
She is for the streets. Yes.
I think on the friend tip or whatever like that, mostly what happens with friends is one friend I feel like they're doing more than the other friend. Like they'll start to wish that that man, I feel like I'm, always there, always there, always there. And they want that same kind of energy or whatever. They're not getting that. I feel like that's how thing go. And then on the flip side, when y'all was talking about the relationship, I think I think sometimes we underestimate deep soul ties are or whatever like that, because everybody want to be like, yeah, I can do that. I can get physical without feelings and all that other stuff, and it sounds good. It's not whatever. So people be willing to forgive sometimes because of how deep that soul tie is when you laying down with somebody, and that all of that's going.
And I also think too, sometimes too, friends are more disposable because most people have more than one. We have one spouse or one companion or one boyfriend, one girlfriend, and then you feel like you have more friends.
Mhm.
Rather it's family members or really friends. But deep down, to a certain degree of what people get mad, sometimes you have to really think, are they really my friends? Because I've learned that too, going along the way, that some I was people friends, or I may have been a friend for a season and not really for them all the way. And you want to believe your spouse is with you all the way, depending on what type of relationship you're in. So that's why I think sometimes friends seem disposable, because it seemed like, well, I still have Shannon and Corinthia and all of these other people to fall back on. And then a lot of times with friends too, because it's not so personal, you kind of some time fly by, and just like in relationships, you're talking again.
Mhm.
Especially if you break up with the person. You feel like you can run back like, girl, you was right. And
Right. And
it'll
I
be
think
okay, and you're starting over again. I should have listened. Okay. Like that.
so the other thing I wanted to talk about, I saw this video, and I'm not going to say who the people were in the video or where I saw it, because that's not really the point of it. The messenger isn't the point. But I saw this video, and the girl was saying that her grandmother talked
Huh.
talked to her about self pleasuring herself at the age of 9. And she said the reason that she did it was that she didn't want her to believe that her her pleasure was solely dependent on a man helping her reach that. So a lot of the comments that I saw was
I'm not gonna say.
one comment was, if it was, and I thought this was a dumb comment
I'm not gonna have enough mustard.
personally,
Yeah.
but it was, if her grandfather would have done this, it would be considered molestation, and the grandmother should be in jail. Um, I disagreed with that because she didn't say my grandmother guided me to that. And I think sex talks are a little complicated anyway, but I wouldn't want to have that with my grandfather. I don't think that now Marlon took it a different way. Marlon said he took it as, and I'm going to say, I know you don't like for me to, you're not gonna like this, Pastor. I'm gonna say Marlon was wrong. But and he agreed because he said he just skimmed by it and didn't really dive in like I did. But he said he took it as if a grandfather taught his grandson this. And I was like, I don't think that's what he meant, because every time somebody came back, he doubled down on it. He did a Jason Lee. So I was like, I don't think that's, I was like, so no, I wouldn't want my grandfather to have that conversation. I don't want to have the sex talk with my father, to be honest. And I will say I did not have it with my parents at all. Um, but so that's why I labeled it the miseducation, because it made me think back to, and I'll get all of y'all opinions, but it made me think back to when DJ Envy and his wife did the interview, and she was saying that she had been faking for all that time. And they were on the Wendy Williams show, and Michael Rappaport asked her um something along the lines of, why did she wait so long, or like what was going on. And she said she had been with him for so much of her life, she didn't realize what she wasn't getting.
How did she realize it, Say?
I didn't, Michael Rappaport, he ain't go that deep, because I was like, oh, you know what, I was walking out the room, I said, no, let me go back and hear the rest of that conversation, because you're right, like, did somebody else show you, or did your girlfriend say something about an orgasm and you was like, well, shoot, that's not what's going on. But anyway, so I did like it was, everybody was really like, why are you having this conversation at 9? And that was my initial thought as well. But the reality is, so many kids, unfortunately, I know people my age who have told me they were having consensual sex at that age with somebody that age. So you can't say it was somebody that took advantage of them, or these were two kids who I guess physically knew what they were doing, but not really having the knowledge, and they were doing this. And I can speak for myself. I, at that age, not with my parents, because they did not, the only talk my parents had with me was don't have sex until you get married. And because Mimi is older than my marriage, I will say I failed at that. So their next conversation was use protection, and clearly failed at that one too.
But,
So I think that while it's a young age, kids are exposed to so much right now and know so much that I probably wouldn't, have confessed it on, whatever made it go viral. But I get it.
I guess if I the self pleasuring, I don't think I would have had that conversation with a 9-year old, even if I knew they were doing it. It's just not the conversation I'm going to help ease you into. I just wouldn't be comfortable at 9. But if my child is experiencing that, or I knew they were sexually active at 9, I was still hope and pray that I have a more control of making sure this isn't a active thing happening, because we know it can happen. But if I know it's happening, I think I would try to get a handle on the amount of these 2 9-year-olds having so much freedom, unless they're sisters and brothers, and that's crazy. Or like cousins or at each other's house. I would want to have control of this. So I think my conversations will go more to reasons why we shouldn't be doing this yet and getting control of it. Now I could see me may having that conversation with sexually age appropriate active grandchild or daughter. She needs guidance or help, and I think I can help her with it, because sometimes you just know what you know. I can see then, but I don't think that is a conversation that I would have with a 9-year-old, whether I knew they were sexually active or not. I just don't feel like it's age appropriate for them at that time, even though we know it's possible to have sex at that time. I'm not going to guide you into it right now. But so I can see why people probably would do it. I would hope I wouldn't have that promiscuity at that age so early. But for me, I'm still not going to help you with it at that age.
And I understand, and I like, there is a part of me that agrees and a part of me that still just understands,
Now,
because
I understand
I
why they
don't
would do
think
it.
what
I just wouldn't do it.
I don't
Like,
think
I'm not
that
going to say you're going to bust your nut if you do it this way and you can do this on your own. You don't need him to help you bust that nut. I'm not going to help you with that at all. At
like
all. Not
and
at
I
that
agree.
age.
That's not a conversation that I want to, like I said to Marlon, I was like, I feel like I'm also in a different state because it's not a conversation that I have to have. So I can say what I would and wouldn't do, but I don't know. The only thing is that I think that, and this is why I labeled it the miseducation. I think our problem is that we are more reactionary versus proactive to things. So, like you said, I think that should be an age appropriate conversation. I agree, but the reality is that they are doing some of these things at this age.
Right. And that's what I said. I know they're doing it. We know that it can happen, but I'm not going to help you with that. I'm going to still promote reasons of why and how. Like, we're not going to do this and that. Because I mean, clearly you don't need me because you're already doing it. I mean, you figured it out. You did it. I'm just not
Like,
going to help you.
and I get it. I don't want to help my child with it, but I do. Like, the more it sits with me throughout the day, I'm like, I would rather tell my child to go ahead and rub one out than to continue to, if that could sway them from actually trying to have sex, I would rather go that route than to be raising a grandbaby of a 10-year-old.
Right. But I think
Because
that's
they
why
got
I'm
to
saying
get
I
rid of
would
Roe
try to go.
versus Wade, so we ain't gonna be able to get
That's
rid
why
of
I
it.
get what you're saying. It just wouldn't be me. It wouldn't be me.
Yeah.
Like that's like me saying, if my child continue to sneak and drink, well, come on and drink with mommy. And I show you how to just have a little bit and not get drunk. I'm gonna just help you get buzzed. It's just not something I would be willing to do at that age. Now, as they get older, I might have to help you. If I can help you curb, see a way, maybe advise you on how to curb the appetite, because it can turn into something even more like you rubbing them out all the time or whatever. Because I feel you, like if even with my son, I'm not going to tell you, you can go in the bathroom and do it yourself. I'm like, look, slow down. What can we do to get your mind off of this all the time? I'm not going to, because clearly you don't need, if you busting them out like that, you don't need my help anymore. She was going to learn how to touch that cooch on her own.
But I had a conversation with somebody, and I was like, I don't know where I fall on this, because I think it is a very uncomfortable situation, and even though I keep saying it, I'm glad my parents didn't have a sex talk with me. I just in hindsight, at this big age that I am, I don't want to talk about sex to them. Like
I think as you have kids and you have to, it gets a little easier.
I went on pretending in my mind like this wasn't happening after I had given birth to it.
But that's what I'm saying. You knew you were gonna get it anyway. And they know. They like, she know how to fuck. You know what I'm saying? They know, even if they don't talk about it. Like,
but my point was, I'm sorry to cut you off. My point was, masturbation was something that I did not know about, and the reason why I brought up DJ Envy and his wife, I'm not gonna say I didn't know about it. I'm sorry, but it wasn't like um it wasn't like the foremost thing. It wasn't, when I was having sex, when I started, it wasn't up there. But the reason why I brought up DJ Envy and his wife was for the mere fact that she had never done that to herself. She claims she didn't realize what she was missing.
right, but that's what I'm
Now, I
saying.
think that's a lie, since she was faking. I don't know who told her we just make noises for the
But
hell of it.
just like I was going to say, see that. So that's what I'm saying. Even though, put it this way, it's a little bullshit in what she's saying. We just ain't gonna come out and say it. It's a little bullshit in what she's saying, because she knew he almost hit it before, and he just didn't stay there. She just didn't say anything. It's her closed mouths don't get fed. Unfortunately, in that situation, when you're old enough, mature enough, or whatever, to say something, it's uncomfortable. It's hard, but it can be, and knowingly can be done. Now at 9, I'm not going to tell you how to bust a nut. I'm just not going to do it, because you already know, because you fucked. You already know. You already know. You already know. Like, as a little girl, I remember my first tingle when I did like that, and like, ooh. I just knew it was wrong, so I didn't do it again. So at 9, if she busting nuts on her own, and grandma, she would have got about 10 or 11 on her own.
I see. I think I somewhat disagree with that. I don't know if because I think that at that age, even if they do get the feeling, but that's what I mean. That's why I brought up. I will say, at that age, not even at that age. When I lost my virginity,
Mommy's going to
it wasn't like I really knew. I knew what was going on. I was smart enough. Like, I was old enough and smart enough to comprehend it, but I still wasn't able to be like, I didn't know to say this doesn't work for me, or I didn't even know what worked for me.
But your parents they can't tell you, because they don't know what works for you.
Not what works for you, but there are some parents who are open with their kids.
I was right open when I had to find out.
We'll
And I'm
discuss
saying it
some
through
of those things.
experience. Like, it really hurt me the first time I found out late what was going on. It really hurt me. And then the reality of them sharing feelings that I know I have as an adult, that they're sharing those feelings immaturely. And even though they were boys, the innocence that I felt, they were robbed. But reality was, they was snuck and fucked the way I did. They was a little younger than I was, but my parents didn't know either. And they would have felt the same robbedness of the innocence or whatever, but it still happens. And it's a natural thing to happen. It is very natural to happen. But I just don't, just because you gave, and I think that's like sex education is not about showing you how to get your pleasure. It's making you aware of what happening and how to do it properly, consensual. Now you have to add consent in, because you can be a 12-year-old rapist if nobody, if somebody say no. And I mean, you could have taught sex education and stuff, and that person still said yes. But if that girl say it was forced, or her parents teach her that this, that, and the other, that you can have a little 12-year-old rapist running around here, and he's really not a rapist. He did something that was natural. So that's why I said, more so than teaching them how to get it going, I might try to use the scare factor and try to teach my children at that time, like, because that's what I had to tell them. Somebody's father and brothers might beat you up because you're doing something, and it's different when it's done to a girl than when a guy expected to be done to them. Like, I had to tell them those type of things. Didn't want to. I wanted them to stop, but they wasn't going to stop at that point.
Right. And that's why I think that a lot of our like I said, I'm not the best one to have this conversation, but
It's six in one hand, half a dozen in the
I do
other.
think
But you're getting the six, not the half a
sex
dozen.
education needs to be a little bit better than what we did, because most of my things in life were scare tactics or biblically driven, and I still didn't listen. I remember being 15 and still having the conversation. Like I said, all they discussed with me was don't have sex before marriage. And they didn't have to tell me much. I was an aunt at 9 years old. I got it. But
so you're gonna learn how to rub one out on your own. You're not gonna get it from me. You're not gonna get it. 19, I help you.
Because I don't know what I don't know if she like what all was said. She could have just been as easy as, you don't have to have sex. You can go ahead and pleasure yourself. I could see me saying something like that. I would hope I wouldn't have to say it to my 9-year-old. The reality is, because one of the comments was, somebody was like, at 9 years old, I was thinking about such and such and such and such. I wasn't thinking about sex. And somebody commented and was like, you must not have kids, because my child came home and said his friend said, look up such and such website. And he looked it up, and this is what they were looking at.
I saw naked books and everything
not,
when I was 9, but I was not interested in having sex at 9. Me.
I will say this, and I didn't lose my
books.
virginity.
We ain't had the internet.
I know you dated yourself with that one.
Naked books. You don't remember naked? If naked books was out when you was
I had HBO
coming up too.
I had HBO.
Oh, not like the naked books, like not what they looking at today. HBO can't touch what they looking at today.
I didn't look at the books or anything. HBO,
we made them get rid of them by that. We kept finding them. So.
I dated exactly. I can date my sexual thoughts back to, well, I can go further, but my porn goes back to Real Sex 9. And I Googled what year it came out, and I said, damn it, I was 11. But I remember one of my cousins turned 10, and I remember it vividly. I remember what street we were on and everything. And I was like, well, are you going to have sex now? Because I already had sex, and I told her who I had it with and blah, blah, blah. All was false. But so these were discussions that I was having, and I don't think my parents would have thought in a million years that those were the thoughts I was having. I also remember
they thought it.
How do I not incriminate myself? I had I won't say a boyfriend, but I remember I was in like second grade. No, I was in fourth grade, sorry. 2-year difference. I remember letting some boy feel on me in class. So when you talk about things being done, we were in class, the teacher was in class, we were watching a movie, and she wasn't paying us no attention. I also remember my first crush, serious crush, dated back to when I was in the second grade. And I know and I was so far, second grade was so far from when I lost my virginity, but there were others who didn't have that large gap in between. That they had that crush at the same time, and they were sleeping with their crush.
Well, Pastor, are you going to do you agree with your child to rub one out?
No.
Or hump a pillow?
No.
Bust a nut?
Have you had a sex talk with your children?
No. I think it's safe to say what you said happened. Because other kids talk about it, they come home and talk about it. My oldest is coming home and been like, where the babies come from, and me being me, and I play around, I joke around, and I'm serious and playing
But
around.
to us, that's an age appropriate question. We
Right.
think that
I'm like, of course I'm gonna tell you where babies come from. They come from the stork. The stork is in the air, and they got the
I
little thing.
never believed in the stork.
I was gonna say, they couldn't tell me that lie when my sisters were having kids. I'd have been sitting there
Not
looking for
I.
the
The
store.
cat.
Not that one. We had our kids at the same age, I think. But how old do you think a sex talk should be? Will you have one? That's a better question.
I'll have a sex talk when I'm ready. I'm not ready right now, and I don't know when the time is gonna be. With my daughter, I got two daughters and the son, as y'all know. So my wife can talk to my wife, or their godmothers can talk to
Or,
my about them.
or the grandmother.
My son.
Yeah, because I didn't have an age too. I was forced. It happened, so I had to. I decided to. I didn't have to. I decided to talk about it, and we had separate talks, and then we had a talk together with. And I didn't sit in on the talk with Dad.
Randy, I don't mean to cut you off,
I can't
but
see it. I have my
if I
glasses.
ever read a Randy comment, Randy said that's the stuff we were hearing when we were kids. Now kids are gonna ask mommy, what does what that mouth do mean?
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So that means I'm gonna put a penis in my mouth and suck it to the said, you're not gonna hear that from me at 9 years old. I'm gonna tell you what that mouth gonna get if you ask again. That's grown folk talk. Go sit down somewhere. Now, if I think they putting their mouth on something or think about putting their mouth on something, I may have to have a conversation then. But again, it was brought. I had to have the conversation because it was happening, but I didn't tell them how to rub one out. I didn't. I didn't say how good it was gonna feel. I did say clearly you like it because you did it more than once, and I'm finding about on the back end. But I had to talk about the responsibility. Now let Dad do his conversation. Then we had it together, and I still don't know to this day what he said to them. He might have shown how to rub one out. I don't know, but it wasn't coming from me.
Randy said my daughter is 9 and she's not going to have that kind of conversation with us right now. That brings up something that me and Marlon and I were talking about it. And I was like, there are some kids who really this is the furthest thing from their mind.
Yeah.
And now those kids are probably sheltered. Because even if it's not a child who wants to do it, most of the situations kids are in, they can hear about it. But I mean, there are people, so like Randy and his wife, they homeschool their kids. They are typically around when other people are around, they're around. So I mentioned, I didn't bring up Randy and his wife because I didn't think about them, but I mentioned our little cousin who I believe is still homeschooled. Um, they are very restrictive on what she watches to the point that I tried to show this thing on Disney World, not Disney World, on Disney Plus that was about a special needs child communicating, and the access was so blocked I couldn't get to that. I said it is about a child who can't talk. Y'all need to let up. But even Marlon was like, that might be true. But when she get in the car with you, what do you play on your radio? He was like, so there are times still where she could hear certain things. But I think that those type of kids are in a very monitored space. They monitor what's on her phone. She couldn't talk to certain people anymore, kids, because of what the kids were saying. So I think that those are, some of the parents where, you really might feel this isn't a discussion I need to have with my child. But I do think, like I said earlier, I think we take a more reactionary approach than a proactive approach to it. Is what do we do now that it's happened versus, okay, I need to talk to you about what's going on. Or I need to have this talk. And I do think one of the things that you said, I think the biggest thing, and I never thought about this, but the absolute biggest thing now, especially with boys, when you have a sex talk, is consent. Because, like you said, there could be so many situations where a girl said said it was fine. And then I guess when she get caught, she feel like she got raped. She don't wanted to get back home from Spring Lake that she slept with this man, this boy. So now she's a rape victim. So I think consent is like the biggest thing that we have to talk about. But again, it's got to be before and not when we're trying to rectify the situation.
But I
Now,
also think a lot of times you have the conversation and it still happens.
yeah, but I'd rather say that I tried than because some things we're lucky in that the consequences aren't bad. But sometimes we have consequences that, I don't want to have my 10-year-old child having a baby and the Supreme Court is about to shut down abortions. I'm forced to keep that one, whether I want it to or not. So I mean, that's how I feel on it. Hutch, are you still
Whoa.
Are you teaching your sons and daughters to rub one out?
My daughter's is 21 and 19. My son's
No, no,
7.
no, no,
So
no. We're going back. We're going back. Or your
there?
grandkids.
What about the boss?
no, hell no. I'm not doing that. Mm-mm.
But so
I ain't.
here's my question. So because I asked Marlon about this, um, I do think that I don't know about now. I feel like when I was a child, I heard about boys doing that. I never heard about girls doing it.
So my
So
thing
Marlon
is
was
this,
like, it
right?
wasn't a conversation that he had at home. He was like, but you have like older siblings or you have friends at school that tell you stuff. Um, and again, I think it goes back to that's the fail on letting other kids educate other kids.
I
But
don't
I
think they
also think
educate.
that I think kids from my time, I think when you just started to touch yourself and things of that nature, and next thing you know, something start to come out and it feel good. You just know that this is what happened. You don't know. Somebody didn't teach you. I don't think back in my day nobody taught me. Hey, come on, you gotta do this, or you heard from another child. Man, do you do that? So it was more of back in my day. We was doing like how I go get it or how I go freak, but everything was on the
And wow.
clothes. Everything was on clothes. It was nothing like, oh, until you got into high school and you started to do all that fingering and stuff like that. But when you was a younger child, everything was on the clothes. Ain't nothing was you was getting nothing, no skin, no penetration, no none of that. And then when you did, as Seven would say, rub one out. I think that was all a part of like just a mistake that you learned, and it felt good. So you did it sometimes, and what it is, what it is. But you never talked about it though.
Right. Yeah, I think most people's
Um,
first encounters would be that way.
Patrick said, hate to say it, but they already know with music and TV.
Brandon, what?
And then Randy
Okay,
said,
not right now.
uh, because he said that he has a 9-year-old and he's not having that conversation. He said, but I don't expect to be shocked. My kids see us showing PDA. I want to cultivate a healthy environment. I'm expecting to have the talk within the next 2 years though. So is that with
Randy,
your
you
daughter
might
or your
learn a
son?
lesson. Randy might learn a lesson from his kids, or Pastor, you might learn a lesson from your kids, because these kids know a lot.
They do. They do.
Mhm.
They definitely do.
When I was working in the school system, I heard a lot of things that I mean, I might have heard it as an adult, but I was kind of shocked what the elementary kids was talking about, or what the elementary kids was googling and showing their other friends. So you're right, they are showing their friends what they learning. Some might not be rubbing it out, but I think a lot of them, they think it's a joke. Like they laugh at the stuff that they see or they hear, and but it's like I said, you Google anything, it's gonna pop right up.
I definitely agree, and that's why, um, like I said, it's younger and younger. Um, like I remember when I was in middle school, and hearing people say they had sex, and I was like, well, why would you? Like, do you know how old we are? Like, I was so shocked then, but there are kids in elementary school who are doing this. And I think we do get blinded by they're too young to have this conversation, and they are educated or miseducated by their friends.
I don't think it's a thing for me. I don't think I'm saying I wouldn't have the conversation. I'm just not indulging you on how to do it. You know, max of go to the max with your satisfaction. To have a sexual educational conversation is a whole different thing than telling your child to pleasure themselves. I think the idea
I
of,
get that, but I think if we're honest, we don't do a real conversation with our kids until after the fact.
well, I mean, you can talk about it even before. I think as young as they are, the action is still going to be inappropriately irresponsible. You understand what I'm saying? So what I mean now, like you said, times are changing. Younger, I think if you see the signs, by all means, if you feel you need to, but I would just hope and pray that majority of us at 9 year old, you're not teaching your child how to satisfy themselves. To have the conversation, totally fine, because you do have to start. A lot of parents start early because they're sending their kids to schools and camps, and they have to tell them about good places, bad places, and good touches, bad touches. That is a sexual educational talk. You do have that, but the thing is, that's why I said sometimes it's what you teach is a teaching, not a teaching them how to, but a teaching how to be responsible with it. That's why I say, like, the good touches, bad touches type of situation. You know, this is a no. This is a no go, and but they're going to find out that this no feel good, and they that's an unfortunate thing if someone else does it with them or to them. That's an unfortunate thing. But I think the conversation from the story where she was explaining to her how to do it herself. I don't think I would want to do that at such an early age. But the conversations, yes, it depending on your environment, your situations, how many people your children are around, especially when you have older and younger uh siblings, and their friends may come in the house and you're not there. Like you said, everybody's not as sheltered enough to be having that supervision all the time. Yes, you may have to have those kinds of conversations depending on your environment earlier than some of us would like to have those conversations. But I'm not going to show you how to master.
And the thing is, I want to be clear, because I don't want to, I hate when people see clickbait and really only tell the clickbait of it. I'm not 100% sure she was saying, I didn't take it. I think a lot of people in the comments took it that way, but I didn't take it as she was like, go finger yourself this way or do that. It really felt more of a conversation of, you don't have to get that feeling from a boy. Now, I don't know what prompted the conversation. It could have been this 9-year-old was like, hey, how's that sex thing work? You know, it could have been one of those. It could have been when I watch Blackish, Rainbow's mother is very just like natural and free. And even though Modern Family, the grandmother on there, like just want to have these open relationships with the kids. And it could have been one of those. I'm not a fan of that type of situation where they're like, you're pleasure your body. It could have been any of those situations. I took it more so as she was saying that your pleasure, and I also share a little problem with the whole your pleasure doesn't have to come from a man. I don't think we should, don't take away from what they do. I think you don't have to do that either. But I felt like it was more of a way of saying that you don't have to seek your pleasure solely from that. You don't have to always give your body over to have pleasure. But like I said, I don't know what started, because it was a conversation with a group of people. I don't know what prompted that or what prompted grandma to, sit down with her knitting blanket and talk about any form of sex. So I just want to put that out there. And again, like I said, it's a hard talk. I don't want to. I keep repeating, like my parents didn't. Really, the extent was don't have sex. That was what they told me. And I feel like that was a fail. But at the same time,
not really. You waited a long time.
Did they give you
I
a
mean,
reason why not to have
personally, I don't
sex?
feel like I did, but
For
Did they give
our
you a
age, think
reason?
about the people your age at that time. You did it way later than the majority of the people that you were around.
But I think so. Here's one point that
Doing a natural
I
thing.
kind I kind of said it earlier. And the reason why I say I don't feel like I wait, or maybe a better partner would have been helpful. I'm not gonna knock that person, but I didn't understand where the pleasure for me came in at.
You're not supposed to till you do
So
it.
no, I'm saying well into my sexual experience, I did not get pleasure from sex.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. That's why I said, like, even with the grandmother saying that to her, that's something you learn on your own. You have to learn your body.
I don't think that's necessarily true. I'm like a part of groups of women who discuss this and who are learning at a very later age
Yeah,
because
you learn
there
because
was nobody who talked to them. I give an example. It's not sex, but for instance, I didn't know, and I don't know where the guys are anyway. It feels like it's just me and you. I didn't know how to use a tampon,
I'm right here.
and I wanted to go on a trip. And I was like, I pulled my coworker up. We were very close. I was like, hey, I need to learn how to do this real quick. It's not like she went in the bathroom and put it up there for me. But
but that's what I mean. It's not rocket science. You see
it
what I'm
wasn't
saying?
for
All
me
right,
because I was doing it wrong. And the problem was
where else you was
I
putting it?
didn't feel like
Where else you was putting it?
it wasn't comfortable. So that means I was doing it wrong.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
So, but my point, let me finish. My point is because I didn't feel comfortable or like I could talk to somebody. Just as something as simple as that, there are a lot of women who are not comfortable talking about their bodies or don't have anybody to talk to. So therefore, they go on like Mrs. Envy and don't understand what's going on because because it's not. I feel like there is a shame when it comes to women talking about sex.
Okay, I'll let you talk. Now listen. What I'm saying is a lot of times your parents probably aren't going to be the person that, because I'm not gonna lie, I'd have been very uncomfortable and wouldn't want to talk to them about sex. I rolled my eyes up in my head. Sometimes you just have to ask and talk, even though you don't. But it becomes, especially as we get older and learn, sometimes you just have to ask. Sometimes you can read. Sometimes you can look it up. Because like you said, also like with sorry guys, this might be a little uncomfortable for y'all, but like with the sanitary supplies, it was different. My mom really couldn't help me too much with that because she didn't use tampons. She used a maxi pad. So she couldn't even help me with that if she wanted to. But I had to learn my own, and I learned from talking with a cousin. You see, try this, and it worked for me. So it's sometimes we have to get it.
I
Like you
agree.
could have got it from me or Tasha or Boosie or maybe Erica or somebody like that if we talk to our
I
counterparts.
agree. And that's what I'm saying though. That's exactly what I'm saying. It was for me, and I'm not saying this is everybody, but there was not a comfortability with talking about those things. For me, I'm not saying that y'all weren't approachable. I'm not saying that any of my cousins weren't approachable. But from 16 till I was 24, that I was not comfortable with even asking those questions. And it wasn't, I didn't feel like I was put in an environment where it was comfortable to talk about those things. And that's how the miseducation comes in. Because where do you get, now, granted, I got my information from a good source, but that's not always the case. Let me read these comments real quick. Patrick said, learn how to please yourself before you can please others. Patrick said, I lost mine at 15 to a 35-year-old now. She showed me a lot. Sterling said, Patrick, she needs to go to jail. I'm sorry. I'm not going to skip over it. I tried to skip past it, but that's that jail life. Sterling said, hey, from England, what are y'all talking about? We are talking about a grandmother who basically told her grandchild that she should masturbate instead of
Her 9-year-old
her
grandchild.
9-year-old grandchild that she should masturbate instead of having sex. Now, I also, Pastor, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I think there's something in the Bible about masturbation, though.
It is. I don't have the exact the scripture, but it talks about I'm paraphrasing. I apologize.
I do all
Talks
the
about
time. That's where that clap and the lights will come on came from.
I believe it talks about spilling sperm or something like that. Can I get back to y'all on that one?
You can.
No need. I'm going to hell.
Was it in the Old Testament though?
It was definitely in the Old Testament. It's definitely in the
So,
Old Testament. That I'm
so
sure.
no way I'm going with that.
That's sure. No, don't go there with that. No, that's not what it
What
means.
was I gonna say?
You was gonna say the New Testament covered over the Old Testament. Oh, I've heard it all.
I told
Heard it
somebody
all.
the other day that's wrong. Randy said the Bible is not clear on the topic.
Not very clear. That's
Um,
a good response.
Sterling said masturbating builds sexual desire in the Bible. What I also thought that was about was not
Subject.
so much masturbation, and I could be totally wrong. It's just what I put in my head, that it was more so about Roe versus Wade. You aborting that baby before it has a chance, because sex is meant for procreation, and to pull out and drop that seed somewhere else.
So one thing I can say, I can't. Like I said, I don't know that what the exact scripture says and all that. So I can't speak on it because I don't have it in
Please
front
come
of me.
back and correct us next week, because I made that up.
But I will say this:
Nobody
when the
told me
Bible
that.
talks about thinking about such things, thinking about things that's trustworthy, think about things that's honest, and think about such things. So the more of that story is like that. That if you're thinking about porn or you're thinking about stuff like that, then it's not such things that God wants you to think about.
Okay. Randy said the context is important regarding that story.
It is. It is.
And
Randy, you're
I
right,
think
bro. Randy, you're
I,
right. I just don't have it right now. Keep doing because I don't have it right now.
I think that I
So,
was
can
being
I ask a question? Can you hear me?
yes, sir.
Go ahead.
It's your show.
So, don't do that. When you are saying the miseducation of masturbating, right? Do
It's
you
a
think that? Do you think that these things should be taught in sexual ed? Because I'm starting to hear now that they want to implement something basically about transgenders and those type of situations as well. So should masturbation and being sexual, should that be more covered in sex ed than just saying HIV and all these other things, the consensual acts of things? Should all those things be covered in school, or should all these things be left for at home?
Patrick said you don't create every time you have sex. If so, you got that Superman. You're right, you don't. But I think my point was, because like I said, I don't know where I got that from. But my point was that when you take methods to make sure that you don't impregnate, that was the whole spilling of it. But we got with the pastor gonna get back to us so that I don't be telling y'all stuff that I just made up. In regards to what Hutch said, it's like six in one hand, half a dozen in the other. I think because we all have admitted to probably having late conversations about sex, like after we find out versus before. I think that's a part of sex ed, and I also think that while I think most things personal should be taught at home, I mean, you can leave your ABCs and 1, 2, 3s up to the school. I think personal things should be taught at home. The thing is, everybody ain't doing it. So it's like free breakfast at school. You should make sure your kids eat, but the reality is, a lot of them don't have a meal at home. So this is the only time they eat. So you should have these conversations with your kids, but a lot of times it's not being had. So they teach in school.
No, I was on the floor.
Also, I think also with those type of things, and like what he was saying, like it goes to another line when you go to including everyone with like transgenders and things of that nature. People have sex differently and stuff. I do think the basic things of, I don't think teaching what to do with the sex should be addressed in school, but I do think the teaching of protection, consent, little things like that, but not the actual acts of oral sex versus this, that. I do think that is a topic that is going to be crossed and where it won't ever be comfortable in school, because you're going to have that half a dozen that like, well, we don't even promote that type of sex, because some people would be disgraced with the thought of oral sex or anal sex. So I don't think you need that. I do think those things should remain personal. My own opinion.
Now,
It
do
would
you
be
think
hard to cross that in school.
I don't want
But
them to teach
awareness.
how the
Yeah.
techniques
Awareness.
of oral sex, but I do think oral sex is a topic to discuss, only because that is a way to transmit STDs and STIs.
Right. And
Hey, Ray.
I understand that, but then you're going to have those people that that's why I said it's always going to be that balanced rule where someone's going to be really uncomfortable with that, because we can casually talk about it, but some people are very against it, would never do it, think of it as damnation, the same way people looked at that way with gays and stuff like that. And now, you know, they're fighting with even just using the word gay now. So it crosses so many lines. It's like crazy. I don't know. So I think that's where it's like putting together the Bible in school, you know, like that. It turns into one of those type of situations and scenarios too. Now, if they had something like when you were in middle school and high school, you get to pick an elective, maybe that could be a different thing, you know, like it could be a class you don't have to take, but if your parents allow you to or sign off for it, you probably can take it and you can get that information. Even though information isn't hard to get these days.
Right.
So what would you tell like a new mother, and not to say a new mother, I'm sorry. What would you tell a mother that has or a father like Pastor or Randy, who has these young children? How do you now say, okay, you can come to me, the door is open, and we can have these conversations, like, because I'm telling you, these kids are more than sponges these days. They are getting so much information from their friends. It's so scary at this point in time on what they are learning. So they're not only learning about the penetration, the masturbation, they are also learning about the different sexual orientations, and they know, like I said, they know probably more than a lot of us adults would know. So how do we say, because I know Pastor and Randy was saying, "Oh no, I'm not going to be ready for that." So in the case with you, Pastor, if your oldest comes to you, or maybe your youngest comes to you and say, "Hey, what is a train?" What do you say? Like, what do you know? How do we leave the door open to say, I'm going to be able to talk to my child about this because I don't want them to get it off the street?
The train is at Penn Station.
Huh?
And call Uncle Hutch.
No, you can't call me because I'll be
Let me read these comments real quick, and I want y'all to know that Married at First Sight about to start. Randy said, I didn't expect us to go this long. Me and Pastor discussed a tight hour. That was it. Randy said, I think on important things to do to build healthy village. I messed that up. Village, so that your kids have uncles and aunts in the village that they can go to for healthy advice. Sterling said, who would be disgraced by oral sex? What if it's your favorite thing to do ever? He also said, I can't read it from there. What if I'm happy for her to fall asleep and wake up with her? Okay, I think we're talking about kids though, Sterling.
Yeah, we talk about 9-year-olds. I hope she don't wake up like that.
This is about talking to the kids though about these things. And that is definitely where I draw the line with what I'm telling them.
I guess on the going out note, I would say if your kids are asking about it or they show any interest or piques in it, it's time to start looking up what they know, how they know, and why they know, and help them along the way that way. And like everyone was saying, if you're uncomfortable, there is a cousin, an uncle, or aunt. Maybe you can direct them that way. Maybe one of the younger cousins are always the coolest. Your older younger cousins, they're always the coolest. Everybody looking up to them. Hopefully you have a responsible one that can talk to them about that too. And if not, I mean, put your ears to the streets and start pulling up and opening up some stuff. You might learn a lot from a TikTok or whatever, and just start getting to their level to be able to explain it to them in their terms what's going on. Because if it's there, there's no need running from it. It's there. Hopefully they won't be there yet, but just in case they are, just have a plan to be ready. I like what you said, Pastor, like you plan to have to talk in a few years. Hopefully you can wait those few years out and they don't come to you before they need to come like mine did. But hopefully you can get to that. But in the meantime, it won't hurt right now to start today trying to figure some shit out.
Sterling said he'll behave himself.
Please.
I was reading that like, wait, what?
I know, and you kept reading it. I was like, she's not getting it. He want her to wake up pleasure with that mouth on her. He had me ready to go to bed. Ready to ask Ron what that mouth do.
He's so stupid. Oh my
God. To cross my legs. I'm ready to get off of here.
I'll pull Pastor. But it is 8:02.
Just to eat, Pastor, to eat and watch the show.
So,
yeah.
Oh, before Pastor comes with his last word, I did not see one comment. I ain't hear none of the co-hosts mention that Pastor had a whole meal at the beginning of this recording.
Oh, I saw. Was that cheesecake?
I said
the whole meal. That was the cheesecake from.
I thought it was cheesecake.
Valentine.
I saw the cheesecake.
That would have been me.
It wasn't a whole meal.
Yeah, I saw a cheesecake.
I didn't see what it was because I can't see these little squares that well. I just need to eat.
It was right here on the table.
Like everybody bring up when I eat.
Yeah, I couldn't. I tried to get off the square, but I didn't have enough time to email myself.
Okay, but we are going to wrap things up because we are coming up on 2 hours, and y'all know I'm hungry, and I got to watch the first fight. It's decision day.
Beloved, are you going to be prepared, or do you need more time? Bible always talks about the 2 Timothy 2:15, study to show thyself approved. If you prepared, then if you prepared already, then you don't have to get ready. So basically, what I mean by that is, in my church, they always made sure that we was prepared to pray for someone. They always made sure that if they needed a liturgist or lead the church service, that they just said, hey, you're going to be doing a liturgist this Sunday. But that made us understand that we had to be prepared or whatever. So in life, we had to be the same kind of prepared. We always pray. We'll pray to God for God to help us out. And we pray to God that for this and for that. But while we're praying, and I encourage you to pray, while we're praying and we bombard heaven, how many times do we say, God, today, what can I do for the kingdom? What can I do for somebody that's in need? What can I do for somebody else right now that they need it? I feel like we should ask daily, what can I do to be a blessing to the kingdom today? And what can I do to be a blessing to someone in need? Father. In that way, we'll all be prepared. We don't have to get ready. Because Jesus always says that no man knows the day or the time that he's coming back. So I feel like if we be prepared and not trying to get ready, but be prepared already, just like Seven was saying, how parents need to be prepared and telling their kids about the sex education. We all need to be prepared in case God wants to use us in a situation to bless someone else. Amen.
Amen.
I do just want to say that in our morning prayers, that is what we pray, for us to be a blessing to somebody else.
I felt that in my shana now.
That is our number one prayer when we pray in the morning, is to be a blessing to somebody else.
You just blessed me.
Seven, any closing words?
I said mine, be ready. Kids, get their mouth.
Big boss, you got anything to say?
Yeah, rub one out from time to time.
I don't know.
I'm so glad my son is older.
Hold on. Mental Health Month. So if y'all do have an issue, don't be afraid to just reach out to the shopkeepers. It's okay. We may not be your family or friends. Some of us may know us personally, but there's nothing wrong with going through and talking to somebody because you are having an issue. Just because you might be stressed out or whatever the case may be, it might be more than stress. But just talk to somebody. Please do not take your light. Please talk to somebody. This is Mental Health Awareness Month.
It doesn't make you weak to go and find help. It doesn't.
That's right.
That's not a weakness.
I'm telling you, I got a list of things for my therapist.
There you
So,
go.
and I'm proud of it. I just got to find one. All right, y'all. Good night.
All right, check on
All right,
somebody.
good night. Check on somebody. All right now.
All right.